The second step of Endures is Navigate. And this is where we move from setting the vision or having the big dream to working out what the steps are to get there, and also working out what's getting in our own way. I'm Suzanne Rath, and this is Endures, for your daily dose of leadership and life lessons. Now, if you're listening to the audio, you'll be wondering why I'm a little bit out of breath, and if you are watching the video on YouTube or Substack or over on my Instagram later, you'll see that I am walking in the bush. I am just out of Copperload Dam in Cairns. If anybody knows far north Queensland, you'll know that we've got some pretty technical trails, and this is essentially a piece of fire trail. I'm not on a really steep bit just yet, but I've already covered 600 meters elevation in less than 5Ks, and this is all part of my training for my crazy Easter endurance goal, which is to run from Sydney to Newcastle on the Great North Walk. It's 270 Ks, it's 8,500 meters elevation. And today, in the spirit of Navigate, I wanted to just run me through some of the things that I am doing as I navigate towards this massive vision. So the first thing I want to say is this is a run or a hike that I'm doing in April that is completely above my pay grade. There's a huge amount of courage there. There's a huge amount of putting myself in the arena. The furthest I have run before is Surf Coast 100K last September. And so I really am putting myself into the unknown. And I have to try to mitigate all of the potential challenges that I might meet. But essentially, it's not just the training. So it's not just the time on my feet, but it's all of the other things around that. So number one, the gear. I am picking up new gear, I reckon, every week. If anybody ever tells you that running is cheap, they are wrong, unless you're just doing your park run on a Saturday. So there's a huge amount of planning with how many pairs of shoes, studying the route, what I'm going to do for foot care. Am I going to practice with hiking poles? I needed to get a new torch because I realized in Surf Coast that mine wasn't really good enough. And so there's a lot of testing, you know, this didn't work, this did work, let's proceed with this. And this is similar to in business and leadership, where often we need to just take a step and see if the thing works. We can't wait around or follow the manual for the perfect run. We have to actually see what works for us. The second thing I'm doing a lot of is fueling and testing nutrition. So I'll put in a bit of an image of all the nutrition that I've taken on board today, but that requires a lot of pre-planning, training essentially my stomach to be able to tolerate all the sugar and carbs, and constantly refining and creating my lists ready for April. So I have this huge option of food and things that I can take with me on the trail, and that I can get my husband to prepare for me as he crews for me. So this is really similar to when we take somebody on board on our team. I'm just in the process of onboarding a new VA, and you have to go back through not just what you're doing yourself, but how do you communicate it to other people and try to make it as clear as possible for them, so that I don't find myself, 200 kilometers in having to explain every little thing. So I've already done the work for that. And the third thing that I am really having to become much more intentional about is recovery. So generally I do one hyperbaric oxygen therapy session a week. I am going for an osteo or a physio session, a massage, and of course I'm very lucky to own a practice that offers all of those things. But honestly, I spend easily as much time doing recovery things as I do, you know, walking or running on the trails. And it's just essential. And just like in our business, in our lives, for us to perform at our best, we need to embrace the concept of these micro breaks, these macro breaks, and really be quite intentional with our recovery and our sleep and our diet so that we have the energy we need. It's just imperative in endurance sports. And one thing that is part of that, so that I'm not shoehorning more and more things into my day, you know, so that I'm not like rushing to a yoga class or rushing from appointment to appointment or meeting to this thing, is strategic deletion. And this is something we need to do, again, in our businesses, in our leadership, in our lives, because we absolutely can't do everything. We need to get rid of this myth that we can. So I am consistently looking at my calendar on a weekly, on a monthly basis. I'm already looking at some of the things that I thought that I would want to do this quarter and thinking to myself, is that really that important? So, you know, it's been shifted into the maybe list for next quarter, or it's been shifted to the I'm going to do that in May when I'm recovering. So practicing not just that self-kindness, but that capacity to step back, to refocus, reset, and realize, you know, is this thing really, really necessary? Am I just doing it because I've always done it, or because I'm reacting, or because somebody told me that I should? Anyhow, that is me. So I will fill you in again soon on how I'm going with my run. If you do want to contribute to this craziness, I am not currently aligned with a charity for this, but I am doing the Sydney Marathon in aid of the Far North Queensland Hospital Foundation in September. So I will share my fundraising link for that in the show notes. Hope you all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow for more from Endures. Bye.